Aries, what are you doing to me? What are you doing to me? And I've just done it again. Oh my God. Right. I just started another reading for you. And I forgot to put the microphone on. So I started another reading for you. And I just forgot to put the microphone on. I have the microphone on. And it's plugged in. So hopefully we'll get sound. Right. I have just watched another video while I was waiting to see if the other one came out that I had done for you. So I needed to upload it and see what happened. I've just watched somebody else's video, and it was an Aries one, and they were getting very similar cards. And what they got was something that I didn't get. So I'm going to throw that out there, and maybe this is why I had to take that break and redo. Okay, why they didn't just tell me, but why I didn't get that message coming through is I don't know. But we were obviously talking about something else. What came up was pregnancy, and I don't know why I didn't see it. I mean, my God, how many Empress cards did we have? Okay, perhaps you are pregnant. Perhaps you are telling your older children that you are pregnant. This is not what the other person was getting. They were getting something about your partner going out and having a baby outside the relationship, which for some of you may be true as well. But for some of you, it's like perhaps you are pregnant, and because you're a little bit older, you're not telling people that you're pregnant yet. Massive unexpected change, and maybe you're telling your older children. The other option is possibly is that one of your children is pregnant, and perhaps they're quite young. Perhaps they're like 16, 18, 20, not really mature enough, maybe at university or something like that. And they've just found out they're pregnant, so you're sitting down with them and their partner, and you're providing support in that sense. So yeah, I thought I would throw that out there before we restart the reading and see what happens. Really, really fascinating, and I don't know why they didn't just tell me, but you know, that's just the way these things come out sometimes. I'm tired, and I was just like, yeah, just didn't even see it, and then I was just like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. That's not what they were talking about, but I was watching their cards and went, oh my God, now I see. Right. So, serendipity is your first card. Thinker. I can't remember whether I've just told you what cards I'm using. I'm using Gilded Tarot. I'm using Fairy Oracle by Doreen Virtue and Radley Valentine. Gilded Tarot is Ciro Marchetti, and I'm using Wisdom of the Oracle cards, Colette Baron Reid. Soulmate. I was just thinking Soulmate was the first card that came out in the reading that I just done, where I'd forgotten to put the microphone on. And then you got Serendipity, and I was like, oh, okay, because you had Soulmate last time, and that's quite a big card. You're actually getting the same cards, you're just getting them in a different order. And Time to Go again. Okay, you have deep knowing. You have deep knowing. You have wisdom. Well, we'll come back to it. Okay, you have deep knowing. If you want to just, I'm not going to talk about the cards, because if you want to just fast forward, you can just fast forward. I won't say anything relevant about the cards until they're out. So, yeah, if you can't see the other reading, I'm really, really sorry about the Decembers, because I had children's birthdays and I had Christmas and all those kind of things, and if you've watched before, you'll know I've had builders in as well, and there was just no time when the house was quiet enough for me to actually do readings. I'm going to put that back and see what comes out. Yeah, 3 of Autumn, but they're meant to be together. Okay, sorry if you can hear the washing machine. Release. Okay. And one more quick shuffle with these guys, and then we're set. Then we are set. Oh my goodness. You're getting 2 cards coming out for everything. You really are. What is going on? King of Wands in reverse. Queen of Swords. And there we go. Okay. Right, bottom of this deck, you have the 3 of Wands in reverse. So you're not waiting for your ships to come in, whatever that is. Okay, at this point, you have the 10 of Spring on the bottom of this deck, which is the 10 of Wands. Okay, so you're feeling overburdened. You're feeling overburdened. And it says, ask help from others. All work and no play, being weighed down by too many responsibilities. Maybe there is just too much going on for you at the moment. Maybe it's all really, really hard work. Okay, so the first card that we have is Serendipity. Now, this is one of these things. This is one of the banes of my... no, it's not bane of my life, actually. This card can mean one of a couple of things to me. It can mean that this fairy is flying up. This is her goal. This is where she's aiming to get to, okay? But it can mean a few things. It can mean either she thinks it's a 3-leaf clover, and if you look at the top, if you can see, there's actually another leaf on the top. So maybe she doesn't know that. So when she gets there, it's actually better than she thinks it is. For some of you, that's the case. For some of you, you're working towards a goal which you think is a 4-leaf clover. And if you look, it's quite windy. Yeah. So if you look, it's quite windy. And she's kind of flying off up there, thinking it's a 4. And when she gets there, that top leaf kind of flies off and she gets a 3. So it's not as good as she thinks it is. You have life experience. Okay, is your next card. And it says, let go of belief systems that no longer work for you. Maybe something that you thought was a 4 is actually a 3, and you're realizing this, and you're realizing that it's not what you want. Okay, let go of belief systems that no longer work for you. An important life-changing event, a situation that leads to significant opportunities. Yeah. So maybe you're letting go of whatever this thing that you thought was a 4 was, but it's actually a 3, and it's the 9. Okay, it's a 9 card. It's a 1 and an 8. It's a 9 card. So perhaps that's the situation. You're towards the end of it. It could be to do with a Virgo. It could be to do with an Earth sign. It could be to do with the fact that you're taking some time out and you're thinking about this quite carefully because you still can't decide whether it's a 4 or a 3. It's like, is this worth moving forward with this King of Wands? King of Pentacles. This Earth sign person. And you're not sure. You're not sure. I'm getting that for some of you, you're kind of looking away. It's like he's got his pentacle kind of wandy thing there, but he's looking away from it. And I think for some of you, you're realizing that it's not all about the money. Yeah, he's kind of looking away from the money. He's looking away from his pentacle. He's looking away from the pentacle, which is the security and the stability and all those traditional values and things like that. All that kind of pentacly stuff. So like houses and money and family and all those things, the responsibility, the security, all of that kind of financial abundance side of it and security side of it. But he's looking away from it. He's looking up, so there's a possibility that you're actually looking towards an air sign, possibly, because that would make sense with this. Okay, your goal is there, and that's what you're aiming for, and this is up in the air. All right, so it's possible you're looking towards an air sign. All right, and you've got Earth in your chart. All right, or this other person is an Earth sign. Maybe someone you're dealing with is an Earth sign and they're looking towards an air sign, but they're not quite sure what to make of it. Maybe you've got Earth in your chart, or maybe they're looking towards someone else and you're not quite sure what's going on here. All right, and you're kind of going inside yourself, but this has maybe been a little bit of a shock for you. So, and then we have the thinker. So maybe you're thinking about what's going on here. You're thinking about your foundation. And you've got the 4 and the 4, and it's a firm foundation. All right, you have the 4 and the 4, but you're thinking about it. And again, it might be, it's like you've got this firm foundation, but actually, do you want something else? Do you have another idea and you want to move forward? Could be to do with a relationship, could also be to do with work. It could be that you've got this job and you really, you're involved in this job and it gives you money and it gives you stability, it gives you security, you've got a good pension at the end of it. all those things, but actually you've got another idea and there's another project that you want to try. For some of you that might be the case. Now we were talking about you've got this decision to make. You've got this decision to make, okay? And for some of you, you don't have enough information to make this decision. You have the King of Pentacles and you have the Page of Pentacles. So maybe you're thinking about becoming the King of Pentacles, but at the moment you're the Page of Pentacles and you're trying to make a decision as to how to get there. We've also got the Prince of Spring, which is the Knight of Wands. So it could, and these guys are together, so it could be that actually you have this King of Pentacles, but you have these two kind of, this is immature Pentacles energy, this is holding on to your money, okay, but maybe this King of Pentacles is being quite immature. Maybe he's being kind of won over by glamour and prettiness and all those kind of shallow, superficial things, because he's looking at this. Okay, and then you have the Prince of Spring, which, as I say, is a Knight of Wands. And it's immediate action, a challenge you can successfully manage in a passionate relationship. So maybe this is someone who's coming rushing in. Okay, this is coming back to the same scenario that we had in your last reading, where you had this family and you have the stability and you have the security and all that kind of stuff. And then there's this passion coming in, and maybe this is a younger, it was coming up as a Page of Cups earlier, but this is coming up as the Page of Pentacles now. So perhaps there's a possibility that this person has got water and earth in their sign. So that would be, sorry, my voice, that would be, the water would be Scorpio, Pisces and Cancer, and the earth would be Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. Okay, you may also be dealing with an older Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn as well, who may be a Virgo, because you have this Hermit. So you might be dealing with that. Could be anywhere in their chart, okay, so you may not even know. And in rushes this Knight of Wands, and this, it's passionate relationship, and perhaps this is something that you're being offered. Knights bring messages, so maybe you're getting this passionate message from someone who has got fire in their chart and who has got earth in their chart. So maybe you have got this. If you're in a long-term relationship, perhaps this is a rekindling of that relationship. If you're not, and you're dealing with, you're in a long-term relationship and this is your partner, perhaps you've been dressing up a little bit over Christmas and you're looking really, really good, and your partner's suddenly starting to become a little bit kind of frisky and a little bit younger, and maybe they're kind of, maybe things are kind of heating up a little bit, and maybe you are starting to get this charming, you're starting to get this, maybe this was this in the past, okay, you had this charming, self-confident, passionate, restless person, and then suddenly they became the King of Pentacles, and the passion kind of died a little bit for some of you, and maybe he's back, maybe you're looking really good and he's back. Or maybe you have got the earth in your chart, and then basically you're kind of feeling a little bit like you got a spring in your step, because you have this you have this Knight of Wands coming in, and there's passion there, and without putting finer point on it, it's like rabbits, you're like rabbits. If you don't know that saying, then it's probably just as well. Here and now, and you're feeling like you've been left out in the cold perhaps, but you're not feeling that anymore. Okay, you were feeling there was perhaps no opportunity here because the doors were closed and they have opened. Okay, you're not feeling like this anymore, which is fantastic. So you've got the 10 of winter, resolution of difficulties, a weight lifted off your shoulders, the end of an addiction or codependency. Yeah, so maybe this was the problem. Maybe you had these problems in the past, and there was no passion there, and you've been having difficulties in your relationship, and perhaps that's what's happened. For some of you, perhaps you've been trying to get pregnant unsuccessfully, but now it's actually happened, okay. Oh, sorry, unsuccessfully trying to get pregnant, but now it's actually happened. Yeah, the doors are open and there's a baby on the way, which is lovely. And that might be something as well that has been working for you. You've got 2 moon cards together, guys. And moon cards are about secrets. Okay, and in this position in your last reading, I think you had the moon card as well. You weren't telling people. It was a really strange combination. It was the moon card and I think the 5 of wands, where the guy's on the horse, and it's 6 of wands, I think. Guy's on the horse, and it's the public recognition and things like that, but there were secrets. You have 2 moon cards here. Maybe you're not telling anyone about this. Powerful, intuitive epiphanies, sorry my voice, letting go of fear of worry, understanding the truth of a situation. Maybe you were worried about something, you have been worried about something because you've got the 9 of swords, you've been having sleepless nights about this. But between these moon cards, between the moon card and this other moon card, there were secrets there. Okay, you were having sleepless nights because there were secrets. There were things that you didn't know. And then you get this moon card, which is the follow-up from it, that says letting go of fear and worry and understanding the truth of a situation. So you had the worst secrets there, and now everything's come out in the open and everything's fine. And this is a resolution of difficulties and a weight lifted off your shoulders, okay? And it's the end of an addiction or codependency. And that's really interesting because there's something coming in. Deep knowing, not waiting for something to come in, ask for help from others, being weighted down by too many responsibilities. There is something else that needs to come in, perhaps in this part of the reading. I might have to come back to it. There is something missing. What you do have now is you have the soulmate card. Now that came out first in your other reading. Now if we put that first, then basically we might be saying that this Virgo person or this earth sign person is actually your soulmate, because it came out in that position. That soulmate relationships can be difficult, okay? And maybe for some of you, you're realizing that this King of Pentacles here, yeah, you've got the Page of Pentacles and the Prince of Spring. And maybe that's what you wanted. Maybe you wanted this younger person back. You wanted the passion and you wanted the stability and security and stuff. And maybe you're realizing that this King of Pentacles is never going to be the King of Wands. Okay, you're never going to have this passion with this person. You're never going to have this passion with this person. And for some of you, it's like you get the 7 of Summer, which is the 7 of Cups. Yeah, you've got the 7 of Cups. And it says, no more procrastinating. Your power comes from making a decision. Confusion that arises for over-analysing the options. You need to make a decision, I think, at this point, Everything is out in the open now. You've got this realization that perhaps that passion may never going to be coming back. They're kings now. Okay, they're kings now. And you're older and things like that, and perhaps that's where it needs to go. This is a really weird reading. The energy of this reading is really weird. The other ones flowed beautifully, but this one hasn't. And I think you might be just taking some time out because you've got time for a nap. Okay, maybe this is quite a nurturing relationship anyway, even though there's no passion there. You've got the Wheel of Fortune is moving in your favour. It says delays are over, sudden or unexpected good luck, new car or travel. And then it says follow your passion when it comes to your career, be the best at what you do, be compensated for your creative insights. So maybe this is just you going back and realizing this is quite a nurturing situation. If you have got the Prince of Spring on their way, yeah, you've got this Prince of Spring, this Prince of Wands coming in, this Knight of Wands coming in, offering you this passion, and you're already in a committed relationship. Perhaps this is you just being Queen of Swords and just cutting them out. The readings that I've had before, and this one is the same as well, it's like the Six of Swords is moving away from issues. And for some of you, and you're not doing that. Okay, so maybe you're cutting out this Prince of Spring. But for some of you, you realize it is time to go. So for some of you, you may be leaving this Prince of Spring behind. For some of you, you may be leaving the King of Pentacles behind. Okay, because you realize there's no passion in this relationship and it's time for you to move on. And again, it says let go of the past. This is a release card. Beautiful cards, aren't they? Let go of the past, an ending that makes way for new opportunities and time to move on. You've got time to go and time to move on. Okay, so for whatever is happening. But then you've got the Six of Swords in reverse, and that's kind of like taking your baggage with you or taking your lessons with you. Maybe some of you are not taking anything with you. Maybe some of you are just packing a bag and going. Maybe some of you haven't learned the lesson, actually. So you're not taking your lessons with you because you haven't actually learned it. However, in the other readings that we did, it was talking about how this was a karmic lesson and you had learned it and you weren't going back there again. You had decided that this was a karmic relationship. You were very aware of that, and you decided not to go back there again. Okay. There is still something missing. There is still something missing, and I'm not quite sure what it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these cards, these Angel Oracle cards, and I'm going to put another layer on, okay? It's making the reading a little bit longer, but there is something missing in this reading because compared to the other readings, they flowed so beautifully, and this one just isn't, and I'm not really sure why. It's a very different story in some ways. In some ways it's very similar, but in other ways it's a very different story. It's far more subdued than the others. I'm going to turn these cards around because the deck was upside down, so I'm going to turn these cards around so that they're the right way up. Okay. In the last reading, the Page of Cups came up massively, hugely, and the Empress came up massively and hugely. Neither of those have appeared in this reading at all, which is what's making me feel a little bit concerned. On the bottom of your deck, we have the Seven of Water, okay, which is really interesting because I will show you why in a minute. Sorry, the light's gone really weird, hasn't it? It's suddenly gone really yellow. So the first card that you have from here is you have the Ten of Fire, but it's in reverse. So that's the Ten of Wands. Ten of Fire. Oh my goodness, why do they do that? So the wands, the fire will be wands. There's Ten of Wands. Too much work, accept help from others. Life is out of balance, stress-related health conditions. This card came up for Virgo. Okay, and we were talking about you dealing with a Virgo. This card did come up for Virgo, but it's in reverse for you. So for some of you, that is a Virgo that you're dealing with. For some of you, they are hard work, but they're not too much work. You know, it's quite easy. It's not challenging. It's not passionate, but it's not challenging either. You know, the wands are all about passion and fire and stuff like that. And it's just like, maybe there isn't any passion there. Maybe it's the end, you know, passion has ended and it's just not happening. For some of you though, maybe you're actually incredibly passionate now because it's a 10, it's like the top of the suit. So it depends on your storyline. If things are going well with your King of Pentacles and you've rekindled this passion, maybe things are kind of going really, really well. But then you have the Two of Air then, and perhaps you can't make a decision about this this Prince of Spring. Okay, and you have the Two of Air, being unable or willing to make a decision, a stalemate, pretending there is no problem. Perhaps you are still sitting there thinking, you know, you don't want to put the work in with the King of Pentacles. You don't want to put the work in to get the passion back, because maybe you've been together a really long time and it's going to be like too much like hard work and you can't see that it's going to happen. So you're not willing to make that decision to actually try that. Perhaps if you look at these two, yeah, if you look at these two unicorns, unicorns are beautiful, brilliant creatures, but these two are clashing horns. Do you know what I mean? It's just like maybe you two just come head to head too often. You know that you're not going to get that passion back, but you have the pentacles, you have the money, you have the stability, you have all those things. So, but you don't actually kind of get on with each other. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe you don't like each other particularly much. You've got the King of Air, brilliant, impartial, professional, diplomatic. You've actually got, so the King of Air will be the King of Swords, and you've got the Queen of Swords as well. So this is a couple, I think. Or it's like the King of Air is brilliant, impartial, professional, diplomatic, and it says speak your mind with confidence, seek out professional advice, balance mental and emotional considerations. Okay, so maybe if you can do this, you're coming out of this feeling, the secrets are coming out. Okay, and it's saying speak your mind with confidence. Maybe you're talking at this point. You're talking because you've been having these sleepless nights, you've been feeling left out in the cold, you're coming out of that now. You're feeling left out in the cold. Or you've been having sleepless nights and there have been secrets. You've had this discussion about the secrets or what you didn't know, and it's lifted a lot of weight off your shoulders. For some of you, you may be sorting out your relationship. For some of you, it may be that you come to a decision that actually you need to separate. Okay, you have the King of Swords. You know, maybe one of you makes that decision. Where did you have the King of Swords? He's not there. Oh my goodness, am I making stuff up now that we just had the King of Swords? No, the King of Air, there we go. So maybe one of you is deciding, you know, to kind of go in that direction and kind of end things and take his horse, because he's fighting with the other horses and he's going to take his horse and just go off on his own. He doesn't want to be part of the herd. He wants to be on his own. And again, this can come back to a career thing we were talking about earlier. It could come back to a career where you don't want to be working for someone else. You actually want to be, you've got this new idea and you want to go off and do that by yourself, and you're leaving the safety and security of an organization to go and work for yourself. Okay, so that's possibly for some of you. My throat really is going. Then you have the Soulmates card. You have the you have the King of Wands in reverse, which we've already done. Seven of Summer. No more procrastinating. Your power comes from making a decision. Confusion that arises from over-analysing the options. Maybe you were over-analysing the options about this new business deal, about this new project and things like that. Maybe you're over-analysing whether you can actually afford to move away from this. And it says relationships deepen to a new level. Trust your intuition. Care for yourself and others. It's the Queen of Cups. Okay, you have the Queen of Cups. And maybe you're just trying to be kind. Maybe once you've had this conversation with your partner, okay, if that's what it is, and it could be a business partner as well, it could be a family member, it could be anyone that you've maybe been having a clash of horns with. Relationships deepen to a new level. Trust your intuition. Care for yourself and others. It could also be that this this Knight of Wands, maybe the relationship with them is deepening. Maybe the relationship with them is deepening, and you need to make a decision as to what you're going to do now, and whether you're going to stay in that energy of that kind of traditional family role and all that kind of stuff. And then you have this, and then you have and I think for most of you, you probably will. You're taking time out to think about it, okay? The wheel is turning, the delays are over. Basically, you need to kind of, this is good luck, all right? You've got the wheel is turning in your favour. It's all very good. Follow your passion when it comes to your career, but also to do with your relationships in this case, all right? And then you have the Queen of Swords, which could possibly be you. If you've got that in your chart, and it's contented and rewarding family life, your emotional and material needs are met, trustworthy relationships. So maybe you're deciding that that passion isn't as important to you, because as we come through the reading, actually the passion kind of disappears. It kind of disappears to a certain extent. For some of you, for the ones who do decide to go, you've got this option, you've got this decision to make, and this is the key fundamental thing about this part of, about this reading. Yeah, okay, that's where this comes in. It's like you have big Earth, okay, Earth because it's a planet, so it's made of rock and stuff, and you have little Earth, okay, and you're making a decision between the two. You're making a decision between the two. We had the King of Pentacles, we had the Page of Pentacles, all right. Yeah, your reading's just coming through the same. We'll have a look at that in a second. So for some of you, you have that decision to make. For the ones who decide that it's time to go, yeah, let go of the past, an ending that leads to new opportunities, and it's time to move on, right? And then you have the Six of Swords. So this is your decision. It's like you either go or you don't go, and that's your decision. And it's like you've come into your own. Yeah, you've decided what it is that you want, and then you have two options. You have new partnerships or contracts, and then you have continue to move forward. So in this sense, it's like you can continue to move forward in the relationship that you're in, or you can move into this new contract or partnership, okay? And again, it's the same thing. And this is your decision. This is what you need to make, and that's what you're being asked to do. But what it's saying to you, and this is really important, is that you started off with the second set of cards with this Two of Air, okay, which says being unable or unwilling to make a decision, a stalemate, pretending there's no problem. But your underlying energy is a complex decision, the need to do research, but you need to stop procrastinating. This cannot continue to do this, because underneath there you have the desire to move on. You have the Eight of Cups. You have the desire to move on for something more meaningful. Okay, so one way or the other, you're not happy to stay in the situation that you're in. One of the cards that came up for you in your last reading, or possibly in one of your weeklies, was the Eight of Cups in reverse. And it was basically saying that you weren't leaving, but you were very aware that there was no love in the cups that were behind you. Okay, so you weren't leaving a loveless relationship, but whether that's because it's no longer a loveless relationship because you've somehow found this passion again with the person that you were with, or whether it was because you're just not leaving, but you know it's a loveless relationship, but you have a contented and rewarding family life, and your emotional and material needs are met, and you have trustworthy relationships within that environment. So perhaps for you the passion is not as important. For some of you the passion is not as important. For some of you it is, and you want to get out. You have this desire to move on. You have this desire to experience new things, and maybe that's what you're looking for. And basically you have the Ten of Spring, which is essentially saying that, so the Ten of Spring is the Ten of Wands, and you are feeling overburdened. But the reading for this, it says, ask help from others. All work and no play, being weighed down by many responsibilities. Maybe this just isn't fun anymore. Maybe you're not having any real fun in your life because your relationships are unrewarding. And then you've got the Six of Spring, which you had before with the Secrets. The Six of Spring is the Six of Wands. Wonderful news on its way, smart choices that bring rewards, success and public recognition. I think the majority of you are not looking for your ships to come in, okay? You had this third party relationship, and there we go, there's that card again, that Eight of Cups in reverse. It's come back up again. You have the option of a third party and you're choosing not to take it. You know that you've got perhaps no passion in what you've already got. Perhaps there's not even any love there. But on the other hand, you do have stability, you do have security, you do have like a contented and rewarding family life. So maybe whatever it is that you're being offered, possibly by a Nine of Pentacles type person, yeah, is not what you want. And you have the Six of Spring, and then you have the Six of Wands as well. And I think for some of you, it's about social standing. It's like, what would people say? What would people say? But Aries, that doesn't tend to bother you. So maybe you have got Earth in your chart, because that doesn't tend to bother you, what people think of you. You're fiery and you go for what you want. So I wonder whether this reading is specifically aimed at people who have got Earth in their chart. Okay, it's quite possible. It's quite possible. You have the Ten of Pentacles here. And then you have the Hangman in reverse and Temperance in reverse, and you have the Emperor and Seven of Pentacles. It's all about money, really. It's all about money. I mean, the cards do go through. The cards do go through. This is a really complicated reading to do. I don't actually understand why it is, because I've done you 3 readings already. So the scenario is very, very clear. But for some reason, the energy of this is very difficult. I think for some of you, this is a more established relationship where it's a more complex situation. And it's more difficult to get out of if that's what you choose to do. Or maybe you're more grounded in it. It's feeling like it feels so much like you're trapped, Aries, because you don't. Aries are not pentacles, do you know what I mean? Aries are passion and fire and adventure and all these kind of things. That's who you are. So why are you trapped in this messy, if you could see the state of my cards, why are you trapped in this kind of messy, pentacly mess? You have the desire to move on. You want the search for something more meaningful. You want spiritual and emotional growth. That card's right underneath me. You want this. So why are you stuck? And that's the card that we have here. Why are you stuck? Because you are a fire sign. Okay, you are a fire sign. You are red and you are gorgeous and you are all, and then you're between worlds because you're in this grey, dark kind of pentacles energy. I mean, I'm sorry. I love Virgos. I love Taurus people. I love earth sign people. I genuinely do. But I couldn't live like they do. I couldn't live like they do because everything is like change is an issue and It's all about money, and it's all about stability, and it's all about security, and it's all about things moving slowly and kind of being very sensible about things. And I really value that in them. Virgo is my opposite sign because I'm Pisces sun. Virgo is my opposite sign, and I look at that and I go, oh my goodness, I wish I had more of that. But actually I know I couldn't live like that. I know I couldn't live like that. And it's just like, maybe you're just, it's peaceful. You're kind of stuck in it, but not in a horrible way. It's kind of what you're used to for some of you. It's just what you're used to, you know. The Empress was coming up a lot, and that's kind of like the mother energy, you know. The Empress was coming up a lot, and the Empress and the Queen of Wands are very, very similar cards to me. And it's that very kind of loving, very nurturing energy, and it's very much the mother thing. And maybe this is about your family. Maybe this is about your family. And maybe you just want things to be peaceful for your family, so you're willing to put your own needs to one side. And it's the exchange. You know, there is an exchange between these two things. There's an exchange between you having the freedom to do what you want and run around and be cat-like and you know, do whatever and have that freedom and have your independence, or being kind of like pretty but boxed in. You know, things being really nice on the outside, but you've got a mask on, but you're willing to wear the mask, and you're willing to be kind of like, there's a balance between the two to be struck, I think, because you have your foundation. You know, you've had your foundation for a long time, but you're, to truth be told, you're not actually, there's no love there, and you are wearing this mask. But you're quite relaxed, you know. And for some of you, you're going inside and you want to take a new direction. I don't know, Aries. I think you're really confused. I think you might be really confused. And maybe just a bit fed up, quite honestly. Maybe you've done this for a long time and you've put your family's needs, maybe you've done the Empress for a long time. And now you're just getting this urge to move forward and you're not ready to do it yet. Maybe you're not ready to do it yet. But you want to. You want something else. You want something else. And for some of you, you're kind of wishing for it, but you know that you're never going to go for it. Because you have this stability and you have this security and you're quite happy in where you are. And that is down to you. I mean, it's quite a nice, peaceful place to be, isn't it? When you don't have to put the work in. You're in a relationship where basically you can do what you want to do. Maybe you have a lot of independence and freedom. Because I have the I have the Nine of Pentacles. So maybe you have this independence and freedom within your relationship. It doesn't always have to be a single person. So maybe you have this within your relationship. And you can kind of do what you want. To a large extent. And there's no love there. There's no particular love in the relationship. And there's certainly no passion in the relationship. But you're just kind of settled and you can get to have that independent life at the same time as having the financial stability and security, and you know that your children are kind of taken care of, and you know that it's stable and secure for them, and you're kind of at peace. You don't want to do the work, which really surprises me about you. I think this for a very specific set of people. Because you like to be free spirits. As Aries, you like to be free spirits. You have that passion, you have that motivation, you have the dynamism to actually move forward and experience new things and enjoy that. And maybe in some ways you actually get the freedom to do that within your relationship. Maybe you have the Nine of Pentacles. Did we have the Nine of Pentacles? Yeah, we've got the Nine of Pentacles right there, which is what I'm talking about. Maybe you've got the Nine of Pentacles. You'd like the Ten of Pentacles, but actually it's just too much like hard work. I think you're in the point where you're thinking about it. I think in January you're thinking about it. I don't think you're actually planning on doing anything, but I think you're just thinking about it at this point. For some of you, there might have been an offer come in, which has kind of piqued your interest, but you're not ready yet. You're not ready to go there yet. But maybe it's kind of sparked something in you where you've suddenly refelt that passion, and it suddenly made you realize what you're missing. But the kind of thing is, it's like, okay, I felt this, and it was kind of nice to have. But it's like, I've got all this other stuff as well, you know. And I'm not willing to give up my stability and upset my children and do all this kind of stuff just for passion. Just for my own selfish needs, because you're the Empress, you are nurturing, you are the... She came up massively in the other reading, like I think 3 times or something the Empress came up. Maybe this is about your family. Maybe this is about your children. And you're not willing to kind of like put your own needs first and move forward and do that. Even if you're clashing with your partner. And there's no love there and there's no passion there and things like that. You're putting a brave face on it. You know, to the outside world, you have the you have 2 of the 6 of 2 of the 6 of Wands. You know, to the outside world, you guys, you're this. You're recognized, and you're you know, you have that, and you're kind of seen in quite high regard in that sense. And I don't think you're willing to throw that away at this point. But there is that stirring of passion within you, and the question is what you're going to do with that. You're an Aries, you're an S, you're a fire sign, okay? Aries are the really driven ones too. And it's like, you are fiery and you are these things. Are you being held back, Aries? And what are you going to do about it if you are? Do you want to do anything about it, or is your stability and your security more important to you? I think that's your reading. That's your reading. You have other readings out there too. You have actually got 4 readings this time round. I'm sure you're going to be able to pick something out of one of them. So they are talking to different people. I think it's the same kind of storyline, but it's talking about different aspects of it, to be honest. Is talking about different aspects. I feel for you, I kind of feel there's not a hopelessness, that's the wrong word. It's like a resignation, I think, for some of you. And maybe a little tinge of disappointment, because you felt this passion and things. And maybe you and your partner over Christmas had maybe a fantastic night that was really passionate and really wonderful, and it took you back to a place where you remember it being like that. But actually, once kind of give it a couple of days, and you were quite hopeful about it, and then you gave it a couple of days and you realised that it wasn't an ongoing thing, it was a one-off. Okay, maybe you kind of got back into the drudgery, maybe you had another argument, maybe something happened, maybe you woke up in the morning thinking it was all going to be all fiery and passionate, and actually your partner was the King of Pentacles again, and he was just like, you know, doing his thing, and it was almost as if it never happened, possibly for some of you. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe you have met someone, maybe nothing's come of it, maybe you've just met someone and suddenly gone, wow, they actually spark something in me, creatively or sexually or whatever, but they've sparked this creativity in you, or this sense of passion in you, and maybe you've met this person, or maybe you've come across something that sparks that within you, and you're ready to move forward with it, but you're not entirely sure if you can, because you're going to have to sacrifice, perhaps to some extent, that stability and the security to do it. Again, maybe it's a new job. Maybe you've seen a job advertised and gone, oh my God, I so want to do that. Or this new business idea, and you've gone, oh my God, I so want to do that. But you've got to think about your kids and your mortgage and that kind of stuff, and it's like, can I actually do it? So maybe that's what it is for you. There's lots of things going on that it could be, but it's this thing between kind of passion and love and money. It's not even love, I don't think. I think it's between passion and money. I think the love's there even within the kind of Pentacles type relationship, within the family relationship. I think you're emotionally pretty set. You're quite happy within yourself. But it's just that passion is missing, and maybe you sparked into it for a little while, and maybe it's not there anymore. Anyway, I'm going to leave it at that, and I shall speak to you in 2 weeks' time, because hopefully I won't have to do any more for you today. All right, have a fantastic new year, Aries, and I will speak to you in 2 weeks. All right, lots of love. Bye-bye.